Did you somewhat justifiably take rejection for an internship at a newspaper as a product of sexism and decide that the only viable means by which you could experience equitable treatment was to masquerade as a teenage boy at another high school? Were you able to accomplish this largely because you were essentially an orphan with parents on an apparent endless vacation, with you left to watch as your horned up younger bro papered his bedroom with Playboy centerfolds, and while you walked into a random school across town? Did you end up falling out of love with your lame college boyfriend and into love with your new best friend who fell for your ruse, meaning there's just one way to prove you're not a dude? If so, you may have just happened into the Unkind Rewind, where we saw the 1985 gender-bending high school romp, Just One of the Guys.
Thrill me.
I'm gonna name you Coda. You get a name too, Podo.
His name is Happy Harry Hardon. He's a total sex maniac.
Of course.
Greetings from the great white north, where my wife isn't jazzed about the new artwork adorning our bedroom. I'm Josh Dugan, and I'm joined, as per usual, by my New York-based co-host, Sean McGrath. Sean, have you been practicing your cafeteria terroristic table lifts this week?
Yeah, I got some weightlifting gloves just for this.
Nice.
And also, you're mentioning you're mentioning of the adornment in your apartment that your wife doesn't like. That's the same route Buddy took, I'm imagining.
Yes. Yeah.
Putting up pinups. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I don't have a wife, so like I can get away with that.
Yeah, you're fine. Your similar decoration choice.
I would say though that
A-okay.
if I was to do that, I would not be fine.
Right. I mean, in a more psychological sense, probably not.
Yeah, probably pretty fucked up.
Yeah. Bouncing in this week is our special guest, who has been fending off Sherilyn Fenn's aggressive advances for the past few days. Stewart Parker. How's it hanging, Stewart?
It's going well, Josh. Thanks for having me, Josh and Sean. It's great to be here talking about this wonderful movie that was full of trips down memory lane for me. Nice. I can't wait to dig into it with you guys.
Oh yeah. Now, Stewart, why don't you tell the listeners who are just tuning in for the third act flashing, thus missing last week's seminal Q's and T's installment, a little bit about yourself?
Sure, Josh. Well, I live in Austin, Texas. I own a small business here in town, and I'm a self-proclaimed cinephile. I think we touched on my childhood a bit, which is when I encountered this film. Just been watching
As I think
movies.
most guys our age can say.
Yeah, I don't want to say this is the movie that got me into cinema, but it may have been. At least the idea of the rewatch, you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
I don't know what you guys are. I'm not following.
Now, before we get too far into the episode, where can our listeners find you, Stewart?
Well, they can find me in an attic in my house in Austin, Texas, right this second. But if you're into, if you're in need of some art handling or art installation here in Austin, Texas, you can always hit up Parker Art Handling. That's my business. Nice. Give us a ring. Give us a check.
Hang that art.
Yeah, got to do it. Someone's got to do it around here.
Hang and handle. So, as I gladly admitted last week, I'm pretty sure I last saw this with friend of the pod and friend of Stewart, longtime Austinite Chad, at some point about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Sean, what was your history with Just One of the Guys?
I do want to come back to what you just said, but my history is absolutely kind of a high school HBO watch, as I would say probably 95% of the people that came across this movie. How it came across your desk, I don't know. Was it a choice viewing that you guys rewatched this? Was it something that, like me in my adolescence, was just seemingly on all the time?
I didn't have HBO, so I guess I don't really remember where the origin was. I swear I watched it in like high school and probably junior high. But I definitely would have seen it, I think, at least in college once, and then definitely, I know I watched it with Chad.
And that was how? Like, that wasn't...
Chad had thousands of DVDs that he'd burned.
Physical media.
Yeah, he was ripping DVDs left and right.
Okay. Statute of limitations.
He had an absurd collection of, like, just spindles.
Oh, he had spindles? I thought
he had
a
spindles
book.
of movies.
Was it the book?
He had binders full of movies too.
Binders and spindles. Wow.
Binders and spindles. Yeah. He would go to I Love, and he had his DVD ripping setup, and so he would just like copy DVDs from I Love, and then once Netflix started doing the discs in the mail, he was doing that too.
I Love was a video store.
Yeah, I Love Video we talked about it in the last one. Stuart has VHS shelves from a VHS shelf from I Love.
From the old
but
that
was
seems like
an institution that died in the pandemic, and I used to have free rentals from because I worked at the sister store Spider House. So
there you go.
It seems like Chad may have had a hand in bringing that place down, so I might have to talk to him a little bit. I mean, that's not how you treat your local...
I think he trained his sights on Netflix once he could do that, and he was just getting
redirected.
He was getting 3 movies at a time at all times and just ripping. Yeah.
I never once thought about renting this movie. I think I probably passed it in Blockbuster, when I was a young boy walking the aisles of Blockbuster, but I encountered this movie via HBO many, many times. I don't know why this was a mainstay of HBO's programming in 1992 or something. Because of being a movie from 1985, but it was, and I saw it a lot.
We'll definitely get into that. Why
Great.
It was, but
great. I want to know.
Yeah,
I'd say it's been at least 30 years for me prior to this rewatch.
20 for me.
And oddly enough, a lot was familiar, more than just the obvious. And again, I have the same kind of question that Stuart has, which is like, why really this was everywhere, and why it was pervasive in that way, and why everybody kind of has, at least from my generation, has somewhat of an awareness of it. At least the guys do.
Yeah. And we're like 5 years older than Stuart, but the age difference isn't that huge. Like, we all kind of grew up in the same, high-speed internet certainly wasn't a thing that Sean or I had in our home until we went to college. And then you probably wouldn't have had high-speed internet until
high school,
end of high school.
Freshman,
sometime in high
junior
school.
year of high school. Yeah, when I had to, start the download the night before and wake up to check its progress.
But at least it wasn't dial-up, which is what Sean and I grew up with. In school, in high school, I certainly never had anything above dial-up until
it was dial-up.
I moved into college.
You could hear like the.
Oh, you still had dial-up then?
I had dial-up in the house. I didn't have my own computer until I was out of high school.
Okay.
We had a family computer that was decimated by my downloads, my late night downloads.
I'm talking
desecrated.
We had, I think, 28.8, like 28.8 kilobytes per second. Like slow dial up that you're talking about downloading things. I'm talking it would take 3 minutes for an image
to upload
for a JPEG to slowly download, because that's the speed of internet we're talking.
But that's the anticipation that I miss, you know?
Yeah.
We don't get that anymore.
No.
Yeah.
We get everything instantly now. Starting to get over to the pre-interview, shortly after we told you that we had selected just one of the guys, Sean asked what you remember the plot of the film being.
Mm-hmm. All right, shooting from the hip. It's about a high school teenage girl who dresses like a guy, the titular guy, and just shenanigans ensue. I don't really remember why. I know that she meets he, I think the male version was named Terry, maybe, meets a male character, another high school character who she falls in love with, but she can't confess that she's really a female that's like yearning for him. And I know that was like kind of the main love conflict of the film. And then she has a very horny little teenage brother who's always reading porn magazines and just thinking about sex. And I just remember a lot of boobs in the movie, and that's really what had me interested over and over again. A lot of nudity. Yeah. So that's about it.
Yeah.
About that.
So obviously we didn't ask for a moment-by-moment breakdown of everything that happened in the film, but how did you feel about your recall?
Well, I think I got the gist, you know. I think there's a lot of plot points in the film, obviously, that just like vanished from my memory. That I'm sure we'll get into. It had a lot more plot. It was way more plot driven than my, 10-year-old memory held. Which was, it was, I gotta say, it was a charming rewatch. I was pleasantly surprised, which we can get into more of that. But
we'll definitely hit on all that. Did the impetus for her going undercover, Nellie Bly style, at the other school come back to you before it was revealed on screen?
No. Okay. I mean, I think that little plot line was kind of swept under the rug pretty quickly in the film overall. Yeah. So there's no surprise there that I didn't remember that.
Were there any moments that stick out that you had completely forgotten about?
Okay, so yes, the biggest one, and I know you even said his name on the pre-interview, but Billy Zabka. Right?
I didn't say Billy Zabka. I said Billy. I made sure to not say it because I knew that it would be a surprise because neither of you remembered he was in it.
I know, and I knew there was somebody that was semi-famous in this movie that I just couldn't remember who it was. And of course, it was the blonde-headed douchebag bully, Billy Zabka, and fingerless workout gloves. Yeah,
I prefer to use his stage name of William. But I don't know.
Everyone calls him Billy.
Okay, well, Billy or William Zabka. Johnny Lawrence from Karate Kid shows up basically as a copy and paste character from the year prior, which I guess isn't that weird that he's kind of typecast kind of immediately coming off of Karate Kid. The fact that they're able not only to do it so quickly, though, I mean, he has this movie, Karate Kid, Back to School, where he plays the terrible jock bully. A little bit richer of a character, I think, in that movie.
We'll find out eventually.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out eventually. So I don't find it, completely abnormal that he shows up again here as the foil. What is weird is that this movie is aware of Karate Kid, the movie.
Yes.
Because Sherilyn Fenn remarks about Terry that he dresses like Elvis Costello and looks like the Karate Kid. So what I would ask Sherilyn Fenn's character there is, hey, who played the villain in that movie? Because he's in your fucking high school.
She was so enamored with the Karate Kid, she just totally didn't notice.
It did give me a brief pause when he definitely looks like I don't know what's going on in his real life, but he looks a lot more strung out and like coked up or something in this movie. He's like his eyes. Something's going on with William Zabka in this movie. But it was strange for him to have a fight scene on a beach in this movie and not throw a kick. And I wonder if there was like some contractual obligation that they were like, well, Pierce Brosnan can't wear a tuxedo in any movie other than Bond, and we really can't have William Zabka throwing kicks before we know that he's definitely not coming back in Karate Kid 2.
Yeah. Above the hip.
Yeah, above the hip is fine. He can throw punches, he can lift tables. But yeah, let's not get hasty and have him sweeping the leg.
So a couple of notes. I watched a 30th anniversary panel thing at Cinefamily
Of
the whole cast.
this.
The whole cast.
Wow.
And this was like a crowd recording, but I watched the whole thing. So as pertains to Karate Kid, Zabka didn't want it mentioned in the film. Sony really did, because Sony also, Columbia. Columbia has since been bought by Sony. But Columbia really did, because Karate Kid was a Columbia property and was such a huge hit the year before. And then they also, for like the sort of like lookbook that they were going off of for Terry as a boy, they were looking to Daniel from the Karate Kid as one of the kind of touchstones that they were going
I mean,
off
I
of.
think, and I think you kind of
And I mean, you
to.
look at her and it makes sense. It tracks. Like, you could see why you would make that comparison.
Yeah, Machio was sort of a slight in frame
Yeah.
actor in general. I mean, the weird thing is like, this is right around the time of Pat Benatar, and like Terry gets this like very Pat Benatar kind of hairstyle, especially when she's out of the shower or something like that.
Right.
Or when she's about to see Kevin.
When she's not in drag.
Right.
When she's not in drag, exactly. But I do think that they kind of had to go one way with the drag, which is that I don't know what you would call that new wavy style, kind of ducky from Pretty in Pink. You know, the neckties and the sports coats and the
sports coat with a pop collar.
Yeah.
It's a bit androgynous, you know. I mean, the look itself was very much just 80s, like Elvis Costello, you know, nail on the head for sure as far as the fashion goes. But when the reveal came around, you know, when she made the transformation off camera, and it opens with the male version of Terry at the high school, it's just like really kind of convincing.
Here's the problem though, Stuart, is that Terry is 5'5", 5'6", maybe, that actress. Maybe shorter. I clocked it basically going off of her brother, who I think was 5'7" or 5'8". But I mean, Gwyneth Paltrow in Shakespeare in Love has to like bind her breasts, right? She has to basically corset herself.
I will let you know that Joyce Heyser was doing that on set.
Yeah.
And in 90 degree heat in Phoenix.
Well, she's going to have to.
Oh, yeah. We're all aware why.
We're all aware why, which is what makes it so strange that in the reveal, we don't have any of that, right? There's basically the presumption is that she is just going braless, you know, like the entire time that she's there. I don't know. I think that the reveal or the
transformation,
it asks a lot of us. Maybe, you know, I think you're, you know, you might be giving it a little bit of a break because of your love for the movie, but I didn't see, this is not, there's no prosthetics, right? She's just basically going haircut and new outfit. Right? Haircut, new outfit, and she doesn't even change her voice that much because Joyce Heyser.
But your only issue, your only issue really though is that we don't have a scene of her wearing the like ace bandage getup.
Yeah, like
because that is that she is wearing that under under like as part of her wardrobe in the transformation offset, like on set but off screen.
A funny scene, would have been her with Denise, her confidant, her best friend, going like, well, how are you going to hide those? Or something like that. And then we have her, getting a tube top or getting some kind of like constraints or something like that. A little bit more work into it. And again, like, she's just wearing John Cryer's outfit from Pretty in Pink, and she cut her hair. Like, there's really nothing else. I mean, she does walk slightly different. She has this kind of like arm swinging thing.
But you didn't think
now, Sean, do you realize that you really intend to say that John Cryer's wearing Terry's outfit from Just One of the Guys? Because Pretty in Pink's 86, the year after.
Okay. Yeah, and guess what? I get it that it's a movie, and we have to suspend our disbelief a little bit.
But getting in, like, starting from the top of the movie when we're introduced to her as the female version of herself, you didn't find yourself kind of studying her face and being like, okay, I can see her contour. I mean, her contours are correct in as far as like, okay, we can make this into like a male version. Whereas like any other female character in the movie perhaps would have been a little less believable.
They do.
None of the other ones would have worked, I don't think.
They actually do two things right. They cast Joyce Heyser, right? Who has a lower voice.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to like put on something. This isn't Brandon Tina, right? This isn't, but also like at its disadvantage, we're not dealing with an actor like Hilary Swank, who may have more androgynous, like, I don't know, features than Joyce Heyser. They do a thing though early on where they go, we're going to beat into your heads that this is a girl. Like, we're going to have her wear a little nightie. We're going to show her figure off. We're going to have her in the swimming pool. We're going to show her figure off. And what does she wear the first
They don't waste that screen time with her in the pool, though. It is poolside, Sean.
Poolside. What do they have her wear the first 20 minutes of this movie?
Yeah.
Well, it opens with a shot of her.
Pink. She is a girl, guys. Get it? She is a girl. And that's why when we step away from that and we get Terry with a Y, so to speak, we don't come anywhere near that color. And we don't come anywhere near her figure, of course, until the end.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, it opens with a shot of her laying in bed in her underwear.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is my
It starts on those gams and just pans up. You know?
Yeah. And playing, I believe it's a Midnight Star song, but I could be wrong.
Yes.
It's Midnight Star.
The soundtrack was amazing. Like that, I listened to that to get prepped today, and in my collection, I have this isn't on this record, but I do own a Midnight Star record on vinyl.
Does that have no Parking on the Dance Floor or Midas Touch?
No, that no, it doesn't have their big ones.
Okay, you get the B-side stuff. You get the real fan.
The deep cuts.
Yeah.
Girls Got Something, Boys Ain't Got was just like a slamming song to open with.
Now, I didn't really know Midnight Star, but you guys know that they also basically became Calloway?
No.
Who did I Want to Be Rich, which was number 2 in 1990 because it's on the Pretty Woman soundtrack?
No.
Okay. I loved Midnight Star.
The vocals were like, those vocals are super familiar, and it's one of the Calloway brothers.
Yeah, okay. They're amazing. Love them. Great soundtrack.
Were there any other moments that like stuck out as being like, I'd completely forgotten this?
I mean, the gecko guy. Okay, so I knew I recognized him from Friday the 13th Part 2.
Okay,
he was in that film, which I had seen more recently, many more times than this movie. But I forgot about his little side weirdo nerd character, and the two other like Trekkie nerds,
Ari Gross and
whoever.
Yeah, the other guy. Not Ari
I
Gross.
kind of forgot about those guys as comic relief.
Robert
but
Field still.
yeah, of course. And quite enjoyed that. But as soon as all of these scenes started to come up, everything kind of snapped back.
I don't know a world where William Zabka doesn't murder most of those reptiles. He definitely seems like that's where we were headed. But if he's picking on anybody, like he's a kind of a sociopath in this movie, and we don't really get him in the like jocular moment to kind of show how popular he is. He's just a guy who has two like 30-year-old friends that he hangs out with at high school. And he has this great girlfriend who had this like strange mid-Atlantic affectation to her voice.
Well, I mean, but Terry's also like New York.
Yeah, her male version is very like Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Well, Arizona is a real migrant type of state.
Yeah.
People are kind of coming there. In
But
the
at this
80s
time, all the kids are leaving. Like, you know why they shot in Phoenix? It was cheaper to shoot there, but they had that whole high school. This shot in October. That whole high school was abandoned because all of the young people were like leaving Phoenix in droves. It was just old, and so the young population, they had built up high schools, and then they were closing down high schools in the Phoenix area.
They're like, we'll be back when we're retired.
So they ran their production office and everything out of this high school. Like they had run of this high school for the entire 7-week shoot.
I bet both these high schools are filled past capacity at this point.
Now, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this one it doesn't exist anymore, but the other one, yeah.
There is a little thing though about like why people are with who they're with in this movie that I found a little frustrating.
Yeah.
Why Deborah is with Greg, seemingly
Sure.
a guy who just goes around beats people up. He's not like the star on the football team or something, and he never is nice to his girlfriend.
Right.
It's really, really difficult. I mean, like, yes, 80s high school movie, but also like give us some degree of status rather than just the
social
presumption that this is-
stratification.
Yeah. Second thing is like Terry's boyfriend, the college boyfriend who Denise calls perfect, right? He's actually like a pretty good guy, which is I found completely somewhat of a surprise. Like I think if you had asked me the same questions that we ask our guests, I would have been like, oh yeah, she's got this terrible college boyfriend. But it's like he's actually pretty cool. Like he's supportive of her. He sends her roses.
I would posit that he's not that supportive.
Okay, he does say the thing about modeling, right? He does say the thing about like, hey, your career. But like she's never showing up at the frat house and he has like 3 women slobbering over him.
Well, that's because she doesn't show up at the frat house. If she
good
were
point.
to.
Yeah. He drives his high school girlfriend to
Who has her own car.
Who has her own car, drives her high school girlfriend,
Are we sure he's not trolling the parking lot looking for other
Yeah, I mean,
high
he immediately
school
tried
tail?
to pick up that one high school chick at the
Yep.
prom right after they broke up. I thought his character is pretty deplorable. Like
I found him odious, but
I didn't think he was going by who else is in this movie, I think he was mid-tier.
he was only being, whenever he was being like generous or nice to her, it was because he wanted to bang his hot high school girlfriend.
Yeah.
Which he refers to her as.
Which she has no interest in this guy though, right? Like that's pretty apparent.
That's pretty true.
Very early on, is outside of when she's wearing like kind of a pink miniskirt and she gets dropped off. Like she has really no attraction to this guy.
There's
I don't
no
know
chemistry.
and I don't know why she keeps him. But
He was a late recast. They had this actor Alex MacArthur who was cast in the role and they had shot some with, and then Columbia was like, they got the dailies and was like, MacArthur had dark hair and Joyce Heyser had dark hair, and they were like, no, it's too dark.
So
they needed him to be the blonde
Blondie.
babe, basically.
And he looks
Yeah.
significantly older, like
He does.
Do we want to talk about how old everyone was?
Yeah, let's get it out of the way. I
So-
bet Joyce Heyser was mid-20s, but maybe that's too low.
I see you didn't look into her at all.
No.
Um,
I mean,
She was... Okay, who do you think she was dating at this time?
So that's the one thing I do know.
Okay,
I don't know if Stewart knows this, but that's
No.
the one thing I do know about Joyce Heyser.
Uh-huh. She was dating Bruce Springsteen, and had been since 1978.
Wow.
They were dating for like 6 years. The internet has 2 different birth years for her. So she's either born in 1955 or 57. I'm guessing it's 55, in which case she was 28 and would have turned 29 during production.
Holy
because
shit.
This filmed starting in October, I think it was October 28th of 84, and shot for 7
So that's a little bit of an in-joke that she's got 2 Springsteen posters up in her
But
bedroom.
she didn't want that. That was art department did that. The art director chose the posters on the wall, and she was embarrassed by it.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
Springsteen came to set also.
I would-
Springsteen was on set multiple times.
And James Brown.
Not the only famous person on set, because James Brown was also on set for this movie.
Was he like a dance coordinator?
Yes, there was a whole fucking dance scene that Clayton Rohr, who's playing Rick, had at the prom that they shot and fucking was left on the cutting room floor. So James Brown came, Clayton Rohr got to shadow James Brown for at least 3 days.
Wow.
And did this fucking choreographed scene that James Brown helped him prepare, and then they fucking cut it.
Tragic. He definitely had the coolest bedroom in the movie. The coolest teenage bedroom with all the James Brown stuff everywhere.
He was a cool guy.
What are you saying
he
about
was
Buddy's
cool.
bedroom?
It's I wouldn't step within 10 feet of that fucking
within the
couch that he
masturbatorium.
slept on.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the sheets weren't standing on edge.
Yeah. So Clayton Rohr, who's playing Rick, is 26 here. Billy Jacoby, later Billy Jane, who's Buddy. How old do you think he was?
I bet he's young. I bet he's 16.
15.
17. 15.
15?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
His sister was his on-set chaperone, and apparently this was a pretty raucous set to be a young person on.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of partying. They weren't people weren't late or anything. They say that in the Cine Family thing, but they were having a very good time, and Billie Jane was 15 and was definitely living it up with his sister, who was living it up also.
Yeah, their relationship is very strange in this movie. At times,
so his just so no one's confused, Billie Jane's real life sister was his chaperone, and they were partying too. So.
Oh, okay, real life sister. But the relationship between Joyce Heyser or between Terry and her brother in this movie is very weird, because she alternates between rolling her eyes to the point of retina detachment at him, and then also shaking her head, smiling like my lovable brother.
Mm-hmm.
She goes back and forth on this a lot. And let me just say, I'll just say it kind of now, is that especially between those two and their interactions, this movie is directed and paced in a very television way. This felt especially with Buddy and his scenes,
Mm-hmm.
it felt like a sitcom where we needed to put air in for a laugh track. The stuff that they would, the jokes that we would end with, and I'm air quoting right now on jokes, with him, usually about sexual stuff, there was such a break in the dialogue that I was this, they're doing
why this is?
They're doing a 3-camera setup, and they're going to try to wedge this into TGIF on ABC.
Do you know why this is?
Probably a TV writer, right? The
punch-ups,
screenwriter?
especially the punch-ups for Buddy, were written by Jeff Franklin, who is the creator of Full House.
Oh, God.
Wow.
I thought you were like setting that up. That this is a revelation is like so funny to me. That you came to that on your own.
That makes so much sense.
Nice job,
Yeah.
Sean.
They do a lot of eye roll stuff, right? Which is huge in Full House. They do a lot of like.
But usually it's either a 4-year-old or a 10-year-old girl doing the eye rolling.
You're so obsessed with sex that you would have it to the rest of your life. I was like, not for the last 60 seconds. I want to relax and reminisce. Ha 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 ha. And Joyce Heyser has such a slow way of speaking as well, right? That as an actor, and again, I don't really know her. I don't really know where she came from, where she went after this. I don't think it's very far in terms of screen credits because I don't remember seeing her again.
Yeah.
But her
She's in other stuff, but this is the only thing she's lead in.
Her delivery is so slow. And there is so much space in between her and the other actors. Like, I think the guy playing Rick, like, has a pretty good sense of performance. I don't know his
He has
name.
a shit ton of credits, so.
Okay, yeah. He reminded me of, like, a real solid working actor.
Yeah. Which he's turned into.
Which he's turned into, and God love him for it. I mean, at 26, yeah, that's kind of like standard casting for high school kids, like mid-20s. What about Zabka and Sherilyn Fenn, and like, do you have ages on them?
Yeah, oh yeah, I have ages on everybody down to Reptile. I did the math. I figured it all out. So Tony Hudson, who's playing Denise, she would have probably turned 24 during filming. Zabka and Sherilyn Fenn are both 19 here.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's his girlfriend in the movie, right?
Kevin, played by Lee McCloskey,
No.
is 29. What?
Stewart just said that they were together in the movie. No, he didn't mention Deb yet. He mentioned Sherilyn Fenn.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
You said
Deborah, who is played by Deborah Goodrich, is 26 here. Again, Lee McCloskey, Kevin, 29, if that got lost in the mix. Ari Gross, who is probably the most recognizable down cast member, outside of Fenn and Zabka. He's 24 here. So the one nerd with a sort of ducktail thing.
Yep.
Robert Fieldstill playing Phyllis, 28, and Stuart Charno playing Reptile, also 28.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are either of you kind of big X-Files people?
No.
I know what X-Files is. How about that?
Stuart Charno, who's playing Reptile, is in one of the best X-Files episodes ever. He's the bellhop in Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose, which is the Peter Boyle episode that Peter Boyle won an Emmy for.
Whoa,
Oh, wow.
Okay. He's got
that
a
one's
great
set in St. Paul, and he ends up. I guess I don't want to spoil it for either of you if you decide to watch it, but that episode's fucking amazing. It's one of the best X-Files episodes.
I'll watch it now.
I'll check it out.
He's in that. It's you can stream it on Hulu or whatever.
It's my guy from Friday the 13th too.
Yeah, he's got a great face, and like certainly somebody that you saw pop up here and there over the course of a decade or so.
Now, Stuart, was it surprising to you just how horned up Buddy was?
Yeah, I think, I remember him being very horny, but this really just pushed it over the edge. I think mainly it was like his disrobed thrust, like crotch thrusting and wailing, and just his total like disregard for the people around him, or especially when he's in public, just talking about sex, just being, every frame that he was in was just like so horny.
We gave him one note the entirety of the movie, and like he's probably, I would say, the worst part of the movie for me. Every one of his scenes is completely draining comedically for me. I don't think he's funny. I think what they're trying to do is go, hey, we need a lot of like horny energy for this movie because that's who we're making this movie for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Perhaps. But he's completely obnoxious. He's grating. He's awful to women. He's repugnant with even his sister's close friends. He kind of shows up and plays both the, hey, you're never going to get away with this, but also like I'm going to sell you down the river if I don't get laid kind of thing. Like he's the one who tells Kevin, Kevin, the boyfriend, exactly where to find Terry. He could have easily lied there. Yeah. I think at one point he says like, "Oh, I'm going to tell everybody what's going on unless Denise, your best friend, fucks me." I mean, just really, really, really bad stuff. And for him to kind of be vindicated, and let's just talk about like the story arc of Buddy for a second, because he is kind of gifted a woman at the end of this, a very attractive woman who is in love with presumably his sister, of which they share no similarities, right? Like Terry in drag and Buddy have nothing in common.
Cut off flannels.
In cut off flannels, dancing to, what is that? Easy, slow hand, or there's a song where he's kind of trying to basically kype the energy from Tom Cruise in Risky Business.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We're doing like a real shitty like copy paste job of underwear dancing, but they don't have the rights to the music. So he's just a cappella.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I can't really remember that. And he's swinging a sock or something, probably a crusty sock.
It's his robe tie.
Okay. Of which I imagine is
also pretty crusty.
Also covered in
in DNA.
Yeah.
Don't take a blacklight into Buddy's room.
You know, we talk about, I think like broad strokes, generally speaking, in the film community, we talk about the kind of terrible outcome in 16 Candles with like gifting women.
Yeah.
Usually like ones that are, you know,
rape.
Can't say no. Yeah. But this movie but like kind of wraps up with him getting this woman, of which I don't understand why we're doing that.
Yeah.
And also, when you have a chance in the coda to show that, hey, they're together, they found some affinity for one another. He's single. This is presumably a month or so later, post prom. And he's easily picked up by a biker chick who looks like she's pushing 45 and knows Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's gotten laid. He has someone who has helped him with that, and yet he's
sick, Sean.
He's sick, but like the movie does not paint him as that. The movie plays him as just a horny, fun-loving, like you should love this guy, comedic relief.
Because it needs him to be her Sherpa.
Yeah, he's incorrigible, but he will sell his sister out for a hand job and a bag of chips.
Yeah. No, that's undeniably true. But you know, yeah. I mean, when he hops on the bike at the end of the movie with the biker chick, I was like, he's going to be in prison in like 6 months.
Yeah.
Or on drugs or dead. You know, this is his sex addictions. Is taking him down a different road now.
But the sex addiction stuff usually stems from like people who have
pathos,
sex,
yeah,
right? Like David Duchovny, speaking of X-Files, has very talked about sex addiction. Like David Duchovny is not a virgin, right? When he's with Tia Leone in real life
and stepping out.
This is a guy
who he's said in the beginning of the movie, he's had sex many times, just not with a woman.
Exactly.
Maybe maybe that manifests itself into like a masturbation issue, or like obviously he's got a porn issue because it's covering every square inch of his walls.
He is the making, or he is the like the textbook definition of an incel, right? And all his problems will be solved as soon as he gets laid. He gets laid, and then we just kind of cut out the scene of them breaking up or realizing that like she can never satisfy him or whatever. Like he's a minor character, and like I get why he's in this movie a little bit. I don't have to like it.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about how this was one of those sources for daytime nudity. You would just sort of tossed out noon boobs. I had the thought maybe latchkey lechery. But
Yeah.
that primarily we, as teenage boys, would have been all too aware of in the pre-high-speed internet era. Now, Joyce Heyser had a no nudity clause in her contract and has said, whenever asked, that if she'd known the internet was coming, she'd never have agreed to do the flashing scene.
So we're doing this.
And then she basically, for all of production, she said she wouldn't do it. And then as it got closer, she was like, okay, well, we can shoot it, and I still have final say because of the no nudity clause. But if I agree that the film works better because of it, I'll let it slide. Wow. And she ultimately decided that, yeah, it did. Clayton Rohrer also said that she was a very generous scene partner in the coverage over her shoulder. And that she was flashing him there too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I could tell.
Yeah.
Okay, so just for the, for the listeners out there who don't know what we're talking about, the big reveal, as we talk about it in this podcast here, is that Terry unbuttons her tuxedo shirt and flashes her breasts for about 3 seconds of screen time. And I'm imagining that they're a pretty sizable cup. She has got pretty large breasts, which again, the whole nature of this movie and how we don't have a scene kind of covering them up is a little implausible for me. I will confess that when I played this movie, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this movie, but I started it on my computer. And I was like, I just want to get that out of the way. I want to get the flashing scene out of the way. And then I will go back and I will watch the whole movie start to finish. And you guys have to believe me that I did go back and I watched this movie start to finish.
An hour and a half later, you went back and watched the movie.
So, on the little timeline scroll on my computer, I just said, it's probably about here. Perfect. I don't know how, I wouldn't have been able in my adolescence to know, how it would look on a timeline. I was like, it's probably about here. And as soon as the video took a half second to buffer where I had placed my cursor, I saw breasts.
And this is, you weren't watching on YouTube, because on YouTube you can see the spike of the most played area, and it's very obvious where that area is.
Yeah. It's the only spike on the whole timeline.
This was just an absolute streaming service, random pick. It was the tail end of the 3 seconds, but it was still the 3 seconds.
Cheers.
Now, Joyce Heyser found out a few years later at a dinner party that HBO exec Michael Fuchs was at, that this was their most requested movie at HBO.
Wow. And let me just say, too,
not surprising,
because Stewart talked about this in the pre-interview, that's the only nudity. There may be some butts in the shower, some male butts.
Yeah,
but
they're male butts.
There's no other female TNA in this movie.
It's not true.
Where?
In
Buddy's room.
Buddy's bedroom.
Okay.
So, which a lot of scenes take place.
Which is paper with it. And
if you watch the trailer, it's funny to watch a trailer and see background in the trailer blurred.
Right. Blurred out.
I'd be shocked that they got the clearance for every single one of those centerfolds.
Oh, Playboy would be jazzed for it.
I'm sure Playboy would be. I also, that's the thing too, when you're setting this character up and you're like, hey, we have to make him horny. He's reading a Playboy in his first scene at the breakfast table with his sister.
Yep.
And if you further want to know what kind of person he is, he's drinking a can of Coke with his breakfast. But you kind of have to get the parents out of the way, I guess.
I mean, I love that they're orphans, basically. Very rich orphans.
He could have very well just killed him and stuffed him in the basement, and they're, just the whole vacation is a ruse. But
side note, that house would be fucking filthy within 4 days. He puts plates back in the china cabinet that he ate pizza off of.
He did the dishes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the timeline. Okay, so the timeline of nudity. I'm glad you bring this up because it's something that I took a note about specifically. I was like, wow, there's not. About halfway through, I was like, there's really not a lot of TNA in this movie.
Yeah.
For me, thinking, being so, wanting to watch this movie so much as a adolescent boy because of the nudity. I definitely remember there are certain scenes like when the woman who's the high school girl who's kind of lusting after the male version of Terry's in the bedroom of the brother. Yeah, Sherilyn Fenn kind of takes her shirt off to reveal this like bustier or whatever.
Yeah.
I do remember that scene, being a kid, but the boobs coming in like towards the end of the movie was always, it was a game of, it was a high stakes game of chess, because that's right about the time my mom usually came home from work, because this movie started at 3.
Yeah.
I was just keeping my eye on the driveway the whole time, just to hopefully I can make it to that scene.
At 4:26.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And, it was exhilarating. And, that's probably half the reason I watched the movie. But
That's really surprising, though, that this is the most requested movie, because there's so many movies from this era that feature more like rampant and seemingly obnoxious TNA, like out of nowhere. Like there's a woman with her shirt off and somewhat gratuitous, like even the panty raid scene in Revenge of the Nerds has more nudity, quantity wise, certainly, than this movie. This movie has one pair of breasts that are on screen for 3 seconds. Other than that, it's male butts in a shower, and it's kind of background pin-up centerfolds.
mm-hmm.
That's it.
It opens on Terry in bed. There is like other kind of male teen libido, straight
That's
male
not
teen
why this-
libido.
That's
No,
not why
no,
this
but-
movie's
but-
being requested.
But I'm just saying, like, it sprinkles in like little drips and drabs here and there of sort of eye candy that, while not super salacious, because this is a PG-13 rating, and that is the big difference between this and, say, Revenge of the Nerds. This is PG-13 and therefore more accessible. It's not going to raise as many red flags as watching something rated R.
Mm-hmm.
I think that rating probably went really far in terms of how this movie was overplayed.
Yes,
Definitely.
I think people
100%.
just assumed, maybe with that PG-13, that
Lazy parents would just assume that it was okay.
yeah, moving on, like it's probably fine.
Yeah.
and it is. It like this is
Right. We're not being puritanical and saying this is terrible.
But the fact that they're shown, like, so that like a couple decades after this, we had a similar movie with Amanda Bynes and Channing Tatum.
She's the man.
She's the Man, where they do this scene, right? They do the reveal, like there's only one way to prove that I'm a woman,
Sure.
and I have to show you my breasts, except it's cropped out, right?
Oh.
It's like a head and shoulder shot, and we see the sweater come up, and then there's gasps. You absolutely could have done that. It sounds like, according to Josh, that they actually filmed that. They filmed the back, which would have been totally fine.
And is in the trailer.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Wow. So
I believe so. I know I saw it out of context, but I swear it's in the trailer. Maybe
so
it's not.
Chekhov's gun goes off in the trailer for this movie.
Now I'm not sure that I watched the trailer again. I could be wrong. Sorry.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, I wonder if the reason that it's requested is because of how patient they are with playing that ace card.
Yeah.
And that it's built up in a way, and again,
I mean, it does serve as story. Like, if we're being fair. It is servicing story. Like it does, it feels maybe a little gratuitous, but like, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, and there is a very quick kind of I don't know, like justification to them.
Well,
kissing.
Rick all along has thought that she has just been a gay guy who has a crush on him.
Right.
I think, towards the end of their relationship, leading up to that, maybe he gets an inkling, like when Terry strokes his hair in the bathroom. I think he's starting to get inklings of like, oh, this I'm not.
Well, and he's a little leery early on too. Like, I think they sort of like do a good job of planting seeds to get to that point.
Yeah,
because she seems to be kind of pursuing him a lot, and they're making Rick look really great because he doesn't mind at all that this character is someone who he perceives to be a gay man who is interested in him. It doesn't bother him. He's not homophobic at all. In the 80s, that is not the way this would normally have played.
He does have to like justify it though when Terry kisses him, because he has to tell the entire student body, it's okay.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. She has tits.
It's still Phoenix, Arizona.
He has tits, yeah.
Right. He has tits. Thank you. What I needed though is Terry to confide in Denise about her feelings.
Right. I do wonder how much of this was like, sort of Columbia wanting a runtime of 90 minutes. Yeah.
But before we get to that, can I just posit something about the popularity of this on HBO?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the timing is one thing. The timing where that scene comes in is one thing for sure. But I can't help but wonder about the context of the scene where you have someone dressed as a man in a tuxedo showing their breasts, and it's like, so that just imagery in itself is so different from any other kind of eroticism that men might seek out, like in a Playboy magazine for some like very feminine woman in like lingerie. Sure. We have someone who looks like a man showing their breasts, and it's like psychologically you have to wonder like, okay, who is this getting off, right? Like who's specific, like who is getting off specifically on this situation? Probably a lot more than we think.
Right. Yeah, it's clicking, it's checking more boxes, if you will.
Sure. Yeah, more boxes that, people, men mostly probably aren't willing to like,
right.
In those days, maybe entertain that kind of idea or fascination. So
I mean, it's definitely gotten a bit of a reputation for being kind of popular with the trans community too, in a way. In as sort of its legacy. I will say at that Cinefamily panel thing, Heyser also jokes that going through her head when weighing which version of the scene to go with, that quote, one day they won't look like that.
Oh.
And she's
I mean, yes.
It was a prescient choice, I think.
Yeah, I mean, time gets
her breasts are immortalized.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say thankfully so, but that was her choice. It's it's what got me watching it over and over and over again as a young adolescent boy, and in a way because of that scene, I still nonetheless watch this movie from start to finish over and over again.
Right.
It kind of in some way kind of informed my idea of movie pacing and like sitcoms, because I was a huge fan of TGIF as well. So all that stuff goes hand in hand, and it's like, this is why this movie felt so comfortable, like, an old pair of shoes or something, that the pacing and in the comedy, as cheesy as it was, felt so damn comfortable this time around. You know what I mean? It wasn't as terrible as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. Now, you'd said that your imagination just kind of ran wild as a latchkey kid with a lot of time spent on your own. This made me assume that as a kid, you'd have been piecing together things on your own in a time where the internet wasn't like a useful tool to figure things out. Mm-hmm. Do you remember anything that you didn't understand about this as a kid that dawned on you now watching Just One of the Guys?
Sheesh. I mean, obviously the prefaces for the plot, her aspirations of being a reporter or like having a job in general was like kind of like went over my head. I forgot all about it. That kind of stuff probably as well just went over my head, and like, not relating to someone who wants to be a reporter, for instance. Yeah. They were definitely older than me in the movie when I was watching it. But as far as like jokes or like adult humor goes, I really don't. Nothing really stuck out to me, unfortunately. Did
you ever do an unpaid internship?
No, never did.
Should we be concerned that this is maybe like greasing the rails for people to work for free? To give their labor up for free? Because that's fucked up.
Well, the whole like this movie was a lot, I guess in its like attempt to be kind of a feminist movie, quote unquote, at least like the beginning of the movie. I just completely either disregarded that when I was young, or just it went completely over my head.
Are you saying that like 11-year-old Stewart was an anti-feminist?
I was pro-feminist if that meant like, boobs and like butts and stuff.
It was her choice, guys. It was her choice. Her choice to do this. There's two, like, in talking about the plot and talking about the internship, like they've talked about this unpaid summer internship at, I believe, a fictitious paper. Josh, do you know?
Sun Tribune. Sun Tribune's made up, yeah.
We're taking 2 Chicago papers and making them one.
Yeah.
They talk about this like it's a full ride scholarship, right? Like this.
Yeah.
This summer internship is like the end all be all, and it's going to be more important than your grades, of which we hear from one teacher she gets straight A's. But there does seem to be like a couple strange junctures in this movie that are like quickly glossed over. One is her overhearing the other teacher talk about her as like
and what she was wearing, and oh boy.
Yeah, and I should flunk her, right?
Yeah.
Because she'll stay in the school. Like, yes, that isn't the one teacher that she's dealing with, but for him to kind of come into that
But that one
office,
teacher's laughing at it.
He is laughing at it.
And the journalism teacher.
Well, that's what I meant. Like,
Ray Maker's the one laughing. Yeah.
He's laughing at his colleague's awful joke.
Yeah.
But he comes into his office, sees her standing there, knows that she has overheard that. And it is, what is wrong with my paper?
Yeah, just
what is wrong with my article? As opposed to, you're going to give me that internship.
Right. Uh-huh.
Or I'm going to the dean or the superintendent of this school district and just tell them exactly what I heard. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's as if she didn't even hear it, which we know she did because it's implied.
It's just to show you that, like, hey, teachers are misogynist, and like this is a bad environment, and like girls have it bad, but girls, according to Midnight Star, have something that boys don't. The second thing is that, like, let's see if I can get this right. When she's at the new school, right? Sturgis Wilder. And apparently, like, it's so easy just to kind of walk in and become a new student at a rival high school.
Well, we've seen this before.
Yes. At least we saw in Hiding Out that he does have a scene where he goes in and he has to have a little bit of an act, right? This is just, she's just there and she has her classes and moving on. Very easy to get into high schools back in the day. No commentary there. But like that journalism teacher tells her, like, this article isn't good enough, right?
Yeah.
Like, why don't you write something else? Just because you're a guy, wink, wink, doesn't mean you can't write about feeling and heart. And she's essentially like turning in her hit piece on the school lunch program, which, yeah, no shit. I guess there's no wonder why a school wouldn't want to promote that. You're doing a hatchet job on your own school. Like,
we can only assume it's a hatchet job. We never really get a sense of what the article is, other than its subject matter is school lunches.
I can't imagine in 1985 that it would be like some singing praise.
No, remember when she brings Greg?
Oh yeah,
The sandwich, and she was like, "That stuff will kill you. Here's a sandwich."
Yeah, and
so
she knows.
Okay.
But her article is shut down
Yeah.
as a man, as a guy, right? Another teacher who has no agenda and seems,
Right.
perfectly fine in that he's not talking about
Sure.
the students as sexual playthings. Like, there's maybe your movie, right? Like, oh, I guess I was wrong. I guess my article did suck.
The end.
The end. Yeah. The credits roll. I don't. So then the movie pivots to like, I have to write something that people are really going to care about. And like, say what you will about voiceover. I don't know who has a problem with that. But like, it would have been kind of cool for
Throwback to a convo that happened before the episode was recording.
Yeah.
Roll the tape. Oh, wait.
Thank God we weren't recording that. But like, maybe give us a little bit of that. Like, maybe give us a little Sex in the City of what this article was that not only won you the internship, but also won you the guy that you deceived, right? We don't have anything, I don't think, from this great article other than, the headline? I think we see the headline or something like, I was a teenage, whatever. And if you pause
I was a
the
teenage
film,
girl, which was the working title of the film.
right. And if you pause, you might be able to read like her opening paragraph. But like, we don't really have a thesis. We don't really have a conclusion. Like, that kind of would have been cool for us.
But we
to
know
hear
that she felt things, so we assume that because she felt things that they came through in the article.
Right. Yeah.
The whole thing was just a flabby setup for what essentially was like what Columbia said they wanted to make Tootsie in high school.
Yeah.
Let's put Tootsie in a high school. Let's hire a writer
and reverse the role, reverse the gender.
And then shenanigans will ensue, which it certainly did. And that whole plot just got lost, from the first 10 minutes to the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was just all like, let's put this girl in guys' clothes and see what happens.
Let's 12th night this bitch.
But I totally agree with you, Sean. I think that was the moment where it could have gone somewhere really interesting, but obviously that wasn't the intention of the movie.
I think too, like, for her to win over the guy, right? She's in love with Rick, right? And she fucked up and she had to lie to him and whatever. But he does end up with her in that really kind of tacked on coda where he shows up at the office.
You know how you can tell it's tacked on?
Everybody's 6 years older.
It's clearly shot on the backlot. It's on the Columbia backlot. So you're like, oh, okay. Like anytime you see city streets where it's not a grid and it looks like it's downtown and there's a angled intersection, that's because that's on a backlot. And this is the Columbia backlot and it's clearly a reshoot.
Well, then what was the original ending, I wonder, because
they probably had to put them together. I would guess that in the original ending they weren't together, and that was the one thing that a test audience had an issue with. Or that they realized they may not have tested this, it's 85.
But it does seem, again, it's only one date, whatever, but it does seem that Rick and Deborah are right together. Yeah. He has asked this girl out. And
we didn't even get to see his James Brown routine.
Right, which would have endeared him to her in a huge way.
Would have won her heart eternally.
She even asked Denise when they're slow dancing, tell me again that Rick and Deb are right for each other so that I don't do something stupid.
Right.
And she's like, yes, Terry, Rick and Deb are right together. They belong together. And what a kind of cool way to do it where you're okay, they don't end up, Terry and Rick don't end up together, but she has helped him with her feminine wiles and the way that she knows about women to get this person in his life, of which, by the way, he's only fucked his mom's friend.
That was in my notes.
Out of nowhere.
Wonderful. Loved that.
A grief-stricken, I don't know. I mean, early teenager. I think.
15, 16 maybe.
Yep.
He's just having a brewski, kind of getting a little buzzed, and just spills the beans.
Yeah, and
I fucked my mom's friend.
As a latchkey kid, Stuart, did you come home and immediately like crack a beer and offer your friends a beer? Or
no, that was in my notes too. I think I was like, do high school kids drink beer after school? Just in the comfort of their own living rooms.
Josh,
I wonder
remember
absolutely not.
when the
This
drinking
is
age
before
changed?
all the states had to change the drinking age, or maybe it is. So drinking age might have been 18 in Arizona then. I'll look to see when the drinking age changed.
It certainly could have. I mean, fucking Tombstone's down in Arizona. It's the Wild West, guys.
Yeah. That's a good point. I guess he could have been 18, but yeah, no, we weren't just drinking beer willy-nilly.
But yeah, I do think it feels like a test audience fix of like, wait.
So it was 19 from 72 to 85.
Nice.
Oh, live it up. Last year, Rick's got it going.
I mean, he wouldn't be 19, but like if that's the case, then it's surely very, very, very easy to just drink beer all the time.
He did get moved around to a lot of different schools, so he could have been like, could have been 19 and held back.
His schooling could have gotten fucked up that way. Yeah.
But they do, there's never a conversation or never a hard part about getting beer in this movie.
Right.
We should talk really briefly.
Well, it's never an issue because she's always with fucking Kevin,
But there's a scene where she's not with Kevin, where they're drinking beer, and that's the double date
in the cave.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck was this, Stuart? Did you remember this? Rick double dating with a 12-year-old?
Nope, I did not remember.
I mean,
this
it's funny. I think it's really funny because like he's being the good pal and letting Rick score with Sandy or whatever.
He's wingmanning, right?
Yeah, and he's wingmanning because everything that Terry tells Rick to do is disastrous for him. Mm-hmm. Like none of her advice to him to get girls works at all. Like
besides the makeover.
Yeah, besides the makeover, but like other than she's all thatting him. There is sorry, one quick note. So he Clayton Rohrer goes into wardrobe, goes into costumes and like with some of his own clothes, and he's like, I was thinking this might work, and they were like, yeah, we could do that for the before. And he's like, oh man, I don't dress cool anyway.
Yeah.
But like
That's
all
really
of her
funny.
advice to him does not work, but all of Buddy's advice for her kind of works.
Specifically what?
I mean, Buddy helps her be a guy.
That's true.
Like
The
she
walk.
is convincing enough to be a guy to like pass as a cross-dressing female to pass at this school for weeks. No one suspects that she is not a male.
That's true, but we do have that it's the iconic scene, the one that's like searched for on YouTube is like the scene where, well, besides the other scene.
Yeah, I was going to say, Stuart.
Stuart.
Buddy is teaching Terry how to be a guy.
Right.
But at the end of the lesson, he's like, he's kind of disappointed in it. It doesn't really go that well. And then the next scene is Terry transformed, and it's perfect. So I'm like, where did she do the extra training? I see what you're saying there. I just don't
think
know
it's
if Buddy
funny
got her
that,
all the way
that
there.
the better character is doing a much worse job
Yeah.
of preparing. I mean, all balls itch.
Yeah, that was a good line. All balls it's a fact.
I just think it's interesting that the lead is not particularly good at helping the guy get the girl.
The comedy ensues.
Terry
That's what's
is
important.
Terry is kind of all over the place with helping Rick, like in this Cyrano de Bergerac style of like, here's what you got to say, try this. Oh, compliment her eyes. Oh, ha ha ha, she has sunglasses. Talk to her about this, and then of course he picks the one perfect person who he should be with, who is PTSD from a terrible, terrible person.
Yeah, so smooth sailing.
Greg the bully. Yeah, she
You'll never not look good in comparison to Greg.
She wants somebody who doesn't, as she put it, like she's real bored with watching you push people around. Well, here's a guy who's been in 7 schools in 3 years, who has never pushed anybody around, who's very nice, who's a good-looking guy, who's fucking dances like James Brown, who lost his virginity to a friend of his mother's.
A pity fuck from a mom's friend.
And
Yeah,
drinks beer after school.
It did cheer him up. Who, has kind of adopted the quote-unquote cool look. And we just, it like lacked that scene, that connective tissue between like, I'm helping this guy, I'm helping this guy, I'm helping this guy. Oh, wait, I don't want to help him because I'm in love with him. At least let Denise know that. At least let the audience know that through Denise, so that we're kind of on Terry's side, and we know, we're telegraphing what's coming. We know that there's going to be a confrontation.
You didn't, the implication of that wasn't enough. You wanted like a scene where she kind of pours her heart out to her best friend.
I needed something more than what I got. I don't know what it had to be, but I needed something more than just, here are my tits and let me kiss you in front of the student body. Because we don't get that. We don't get the article that would help explain that, would cover the base later, that would smooth over and explain her feelings. There's no attempt on her part to go and like, make amends with him before that studio shot outside of the Sun Tribune.
Mm-hmm.
If you gave me the article afterwards, I could understand that. If you gave me the conversation where she confides with her friends, like, I'm really confused. I think I'm falling for this guy.
Yeah.
Great. Give me something. This is an 80s movie. It doesn't have to be so subtle that, like, we lose the motivation and the path of our main character.
Yeah.
I do think that there is a fundamental, like, kind of underuse of Denise, and Tony Hudson would agree, and did, because she said at that Cinefamily panel that there's one thing you know about her character, and it was that she used to be fat.
Which is so fucking inane. Like, maybe that line is written before you cast that actress, but when she said that,
yeah, there's no way.
No, you didn't.
No,
you didn't.
Not buying that.
No,
I mean, maybe like pre-puberty, maybe as like as a 5-year-old.
I was a big baby.
Yeah,
no one here
right.
Whatever. But like the kids in your high school wouldn't know that either.
No.
We should spare a moment here for Denise and the 41-year-old guitarist from Foreigner that she ends up with
the mullet.
Yeah.
How is that? I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I don't think I need to say more than that.
No.
Yeah.
Now, wistfully opining on the box art for this film in the pre-interview, Sean joked that we hadn't even mentioned who the lead actress of the film was. Obviously, it's Joyce Heyser. Now, if the audience didn't know her as Bruce Springsteen's girlfriend, they probably would have known her from being the girl that Dan Hartman dances with atop the bar in the I Can Dream About You video.
Oh.
Which I just watched. I just watched it. I vaguely remember the video, but if you were like at this time, you would have known her from that. She also had supporting roles in Staying Alive, Valley Girl, and This Is Spinal Tap.
Not a big role in Spinal Tap.
No. And Valley Girl, it's pretty small too, but I think she had a more notable role in Staying Alive. Now, neither of you had remembered any other actors in the film. In retrospect, is that strange to either one of you?
I mean, the Zapka disconnect is, that's a big miss for me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Stewart. Like, I should have known that this was like his triumvirate, like the Zapka Bully trilogy of the 80s, that this absolutely was part of that.
Well, and the reptile, it's like these things that are just kind of implanted so far back in my memory that, of course he's in this movie. No, yeah. Immediately when I saw it, like, when I think about that actor's face, which I don't often at all, but that's what I remember.
You dream about Stewart Charno. It's okay.
He's is it an EW or a U?
You.
Oh, no. Could have been an EW, but it's like that.
His parents fucked up.
The journalism teacher is a total that guy. I know I've seen him in a million things, but
He was a teacher on Growing Pains, I believe.
Okay, yeah, there we go. Well,
Kenneth Tygar is his name.
And then
I wasn't looking at that, by the way.
Kevin, the boyfriend, has such a recognizable like waspy kind of 80s waspy face. I thought for sure I'd seen him in a million things, and I looked up his IMDb. The only other thing he was in was Inferno with, that I probably watched was Inferno with Dario Argento, and that probably wasn't it, but
he went from this to a career in finance with Patrick Bateman.
He didn't last long.
Yeah, Sid Sivlovich, he was actually, I think that was Maggie's boss at one point on Growing Pains, but he was in.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
there.
what we're getting around to, though, and I'll say it, is I don't think Joyce Heyser is very good. I don't think she's a good actor.
I think she was fine as Terry female version.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
I mean, the accent still very much sticks out to me as being odd, because I don't think of her accent as being Southwestern. Not that Phoenix has an accent, but it sticks out as being not from Phoenix.
I don't know if, nobody really comes off that great in this movie. I think the director, who we haven't really talked about, Lisa Gottlieb.
Yep.
Is dealing with a kind of a party shoot. People all over the fucking Bruce Springsteen and James Brown coming to set.
Yeah.
She's not there pulling out great performances from a young actor core, right?
Yeah.
Zabka basically is on autopilot this whole fucking movie. He doesn't even have any type of real redemption. The way that they gave him in Karate Kid, where the person who hands Daniel LaRussa the trophy is Johnny Lawrence.
And you can absolutely watch Karate Kid in the other way, where Johnny's the hero and it makes sense.
Right. There's a complexity there that is not here in this movie. He is a sociopath who's going to beat up nerds and create messes for a poor janitor. And it's where are the authority figures in this fucking movie?
Yeah.
Right?
He's not even that jacked. He's supposed to be this weightlifting guy, and he's fit. I'm sure he's fit, but it's not like he's a beefcake,
No, he's in between getting in diving shape for back to school.
Exactly.
There is something, though. There's a missed line in this movie, I feel, where, and it could happen as quickly when we see the James Brown bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Of Rick's, where she picks up a photo and it's a young kid with his dad, and he says something like, "Yeah, that's my dad, blah, blah, blah. He was a boxing instructor." Something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Give us some plausibility of why Rick is a fucking Julio Cesar Chavez at the end of that movie. Because he dismantles this guy.
Yeah. I mean, the left jab was
the left jab, the body shot, and then a toss into the punch bowl. Give us one line of dialogue, guys.
Confidence
that just says
goes a long way,
It really does. And I also
it's the makeover
in that scene. If you, I guess this enforces your point that Terry's boyfriend is a real piece of shit, but it's not highlighted well enough. If you guys saw your girlfriend picked up and chucked into the ocean, I think you'd have a problem with the person who did that.
Not if she was dressed like a man.
Well, I mean that's your horrible prejudice, Stewart, that we finally are getting out about you.
So we talk about the prom obviously happens at this speech thing. You guys know that's actually in Phoenix?
The what?
Was it on some lake? Where is it? It's is that a dam?
No, they have up until I think it closed in 2019. They had it was the largest wave pool for surfing.
Whoa.
Inland in the world, I believe, at one point. But this beach thing was it was called Big Surf.
We don't ever get an acknowledgement from the movie.
We don't have an establishing shot at all. And that's why when Stewart was thinking about this movie, he would have assumed it was in California. He would have assumed it was in LA. Because you think of this, like, this happens on a beach. That is an actual thing in Phoenix.
Well, even
that was in operation from 62 until like 2019.
I didn't even think about why or how, I guess, but that's a great point. And even like Rick's house, right? It's like it's something that you would see in like Silver Lake or something, like that style of like mid-century craftsman, And I thought I'd remember palm trees or something too, but I could have been way wrong.
Oh, there
would be palm trees in Phoenix too.
Yeah, there are palm trees in the opening shot of her getting dropped off at school, certainly.
Yeah, but it's set. It doesn't have a setting. Like
it's set in Phoenix.
It is.
Yeah. You can all the license plates are Arizona. The Rick on his decal on the windshield, it's an Arizona State student like decal for parking. So it is set in Phoenix, though you wouldn't know it. But yeah, it's supposed to be in Phoenix.
Okay. So everyone watching the movie is like, "Oh, they had their prom at Big Surf. That's cool."
Well, no, the funny thing is no one who was watching it then would have been able to tell anything because you can't get the detail of the decal on the window, the windshield if you're watching on a fucking, a tube TV. You're not going to be able to tell that.
So if that's true, then I mean, the decal's set there though. Phoenix, I saw it now. Or is it just like a fictional high school?
It's a fictional high school.
Yeah. Okay. I still think they shot it in LA.
No, it's definitely in Phoenix. 100%.
Oh.
I watched a whole video about all of the shooting locations.
Okay.
The one high school was in Scottsdale. Mm-hmm. The second one, the first one is still open. That's Coronado. And that is over into Phoenix. But yeah, this is all in Phoenix. All right, so thrown to the next clip, we asked what you remembered most about the movie.
Well, I remember the little brother's bedroom was just like covered with porno mags and like nude women.
Okay.
So that scene stuck out to me. And then, of course, I think what we're all talking about is the big reveal when the main character reveals that she's a woman to this boyfriend guy who, by opening her tuxedo, because they were at the prom, and showing her boobs. It's like full frontal boob shot. Great scene.
It's the only way to really explain to somebody that you're...
Yes.
I mean, it was a beautiful scene. Funny story. So when my grandfather watched HBO like all the time. So, and we would go over there for like dinner. And one day me and my mom went over there and my grandmother and her were in the kitchen talking, preparing food or whatever. And I was sitting kind of just casually watching just one of the guys with my grandfather. I think this may have been the first time I saw it or knew of it.
Nice.
And the scene was playing and we were both just like watching and I'm like 9 or 10 years old. And then she just like shows her boobs and he like fumbles the remote and is like trying to change the channel really quickly.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that memory is seared into my... Then I was like, I got to go home and watch this movie. Yeah.
We've all been there. I mean, in his defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we've all had to like, have cat-like reflexes to grab a remote or dart across, the carpet to the off switch.
Yeah.
I had a kind of infamous one where I had a remote control that had, if you go back 20 years to the real kind of rubber squishy buttons on the remote, usually associated with a universal remote.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
But they had a really annoying side effect that sometimes the compression, they would stick under, and I found myself in this almost Kafka-esque ordeal of turning on and off a television that had a Zalman King movie playing. I believe it was Lake Consequence with Joan Severance at a really, really inopportune time for parents to be coming in the room. And that 13-inch color TV must have turned on and off about 8 times as I'm in pure panic. I mean, I almost just threw my fist through the television set. Probably should have, but yeah, curse those remotes. But yeah, I mean, we've all been there with the...
I could probably, if you blindfold me and put our old remote in my hand, I'd probably know where the last recall channel button is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my thumb was just constantly resting over that. When I was watching just one of the guys at home.
Sure.
My mom was somewhere else.
Now, was your grandfather in the room with you in spirit when you watched this again?
He could have very well been right by my side. He's still with us, and he would still probably love to take a trip down memory lane. I'm still wondering why he was watching this movie while my grandmother was preparing dinner at 6:30 p.m.
I mean, is default just HBO for him?
I think so. I mean,
okay.
He would kind of just mindlessly watch TV,
It was always on. And
yeah.
We could talk a little bit about the going rate for something like this, but normally a streaming service, or at the time premium cable or basic cable, would negotiate a rate and a length of time for movies.
Yeah.
With the production, with the distributor, and also, of course, with the Screen Actors Guild and how much that comes into it as well. But I think that just one of the guys is, aside from the nudity, is in this crop of movies that were just cheap. It
wasn't that cheap.
Not to make.
No. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So we talked about box office a bit in the previous episode without really knowing what it had returned. So now Columbia, who had just been bought out by Coca-Cola, and they replaced the studio head between when Just One of the Guys got greenlit and when it got released. They did zero marketing for this movie, none. Lisa Gottlieb said she met with marketing people, and then nothing happened. They instead opted to fully back, with a huge ad buy, the Gyms Are the New Singles Bar, John Travolta, Jamie Lee Curtis sex drama Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Just One of the Guys made roughly twice its production budget back at the box office. It cost between $5 and $6 million and made 11.5 at the box office.
God bless word of mouth.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was still playing on 1,000 screens after 4 weeks. Despite, again, no push at all, no marketing. It closed out closed out 1985, 79th at the box office, which was well behind Cocoon, which was number 5, St. Elmo's Fire, which was number 25, 2 spots ahead of Return to Oz, and doubling the box office return of Gymkata, all of which we've seen.
Wow.
And it finished just $1.5 million behind Perfect, despite the huge marketing push, and Perfect costing 4 times more than Just One of the Guys did. Now, this was a massive hit in secondary markets. Gottlieb said she was getting residual checks with commas in them for years after the film was released. This made upwards of $90 million
Oh my
in
God.
secondary markets. So rentals, VHS, international cable
Holy shit.
over the next decade.
Wow.
We have to like acknowledge that, speaking purely financially, Joyce Heyser made the right decision.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
This movie does not make 90 million,
No.
which, Jesus Christ.
I mean, 100. It's that's 90 just in secondary. So like it made over $100 million.
Is that adjusted for inflation?
No,
Wow.
no.
That-
This is fucking 1985 to like it was because it was in the constant rotation for like a decade.
Yeah.
So like it had this weird afterlife, and it just kept going and going and going, and they kept getting paid big on this fucking movie.
Wow, that's staggering. I mean, that's a super impressive figure for a movie like this.
Right.
With-
I mean, because you obviously were getting residuals for a very big movie for a little while.
Still,
But like, yeah. But
not with
I mean,
commas.
No, not with commas. I mean, you
Commas.
weren't the director. You
Yeah.
weren't the director, obviously, and
Wow.
she should have been a credited screenwriter too, because she and her writing partner did 6 drafts for Columbia.
Wow.
And then Jeff Franklin was brought in for touch-ups. So Franklin and the original screenwriter both got the screenwriting credits.
I knew I could smell his scent.
That's crazy. So how quickly, I don't want to get into the weeds or anything. 'Cause I don't know how any of that breaks down as far as like what HBO pays and how do rentals, how do movies get paid via rental houses like Blockbuster, for instance?
Well, so with the rental houses, the way it was working in the 80s was for the rental market, VHS at that time, just VHS, they cost like $119 per cassette.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would this was like there were some E.T. was kind of the first movie that was marketed for home video, like for the home video audience. Before that, it was like $119 was the retail price for like say Highlander 2 or whatever. And so video stores would be the only people who could really afford to buy these movies, and that's how the rental market was driven by that.
It was
And
a
so it was
one-time
just
purchase.
One-time purchase, yeah,
And then
one-time purchase.
okay.
But then all of that money gets like chopped up, like part of the distribution deal that you would have is that like, okay, well, SAG gets X amount, and you're just getting more money based on how many things are sold. But then in syndication or like in the, I guess it's not technically syndication, but in the like cable distribution deals, you're also getting money for any time it screens.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. And it's, I mean, like you said, for like a decade, because in 1994, it was still just constantly on HBO.
Oh, yeah.
10 years later.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
for a movie to make $10 million, I mean, a movie to double its budget, great. But like, this is not a movie that I think had HBO and premium cable not been around that we would be talking about today. This is a movie that found this lifespan, and like quite the phoenix lifespan over 10 years. Whatever the negotiation was, I mean, I can't think of another movie like that had such a return on investment in the secondary market. Outside of
Beastmaster
maybe,
would have, I'd imagine.
yeah, I was going to say like one of the bigger ones that is much more famous is Shawshank Redemption,
Oh yeah.
which I'm sure we'll
Which
get to at some point.
has just every single day on TBS it's aired, I think.
Right,
Yeah.
but a movie that kind
Or
of
TNT.
died a small death at the
Yeah,
theatrical
it was a
run.
box office bomb. It didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It lost like a significant amount of money, at least until after its Oscar nomination.
Hope will survive. Wow. All right. Well, let's move on here.
Yeah. Okay. So we jumped right into the next question. So what do you think it was about just one of the guys that appealed to young Stewart?
Well, they had a great plot. The writing was terrific. No, just the boobs. I mean, it's just...
Which is like, this is probably the first movie in the Unkind Rewind that like has had a scene that's been...
Beastmaster also, but...
Yeah, Beastmaster's had some TNA that was kind of legendary. But I would say that like more people saw just one of the guys than Beastmaster. And we'll maybe have box office.
Well, at least saw the cut with nudity, because so many people saw Beastmaster on TBS.
Okay, fair point.
Yeah. But, speaking of the little brother, he really sticks out in my mind because his character was really curious about sex and was a virgin. And so he was always asking his older sister about sex and talking about it. And, I mean, it was kind of like, that's my avatar for the movie, because I was of age to be really curious about that stuff too. And even though it was kind of schlocky and slapstick, I was like still kind of very in tune with that state of mind.
Now you joked about the plot and the writing. How do you feel about those elements now, having watched it?
The plot and the writing. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised, let's put it that way. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't as like unwatchable as I thought it would be. There was a plot that was able to be followed with, granted it has plenty of holes, but it is just like an 80s, high school teen romp. We kind of gone over like the setup and how that kind of gets buried, and maybe that could have been carried throughout the movie to make it a little more, give it a little more weight. But whatever plot was there, I picked it up this time, and it will probably be equally as forgettable to me in the future.
Now, did seeing Buddy struggling to figure out sex from any source he could get information from transport you back to that state of being this time?
Well, Buddy, as we touched on, was way hornier and way more aggressive in his horniness than I had remembered.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much, from the rewatch, it wasn't so much that he had questions for his sister. It was more like, yeah, I'm going to blackmail you until I get laid. I'm not interested in what you think about sex. I'm just horny and need to get laid kind of thing. In that case, I feel a little less attached to that character.
Sure.
No. Yeah. For the record, everyone.
I'm not that monster.
I'm not that.
Thrown to the last clip, we asked what you expected upon your return to Just One of the Guys.
Yeah, it's probably not a great movie. I mean, there's a reason why we haven't heard of any of these actors. I'm curious to know who the director is and like what else that they did. But there's probably some great shots of LA and, probably some jokes that might make me chuckle here and there. But
yeah.
It'll be interesting, after watching pornography for so many years now, how it's going to play as like something that really was tantalizing to me then. You know what I mean?
So obviously we already addressed the Phoenix of it all.
Right.
Where would this land compared to your expectations for it going into the rewatch?
I think it exceeded my expectations, like I said. As far as the quality of the movie is concerned.
Which were admittedly low.
Yeah, they were very low, just because I had forgotten so much about the details of the movie.
Yeah.
I just really had bits and pieces of imagery here and there. So there was a tangible plot to follow. Most of the characters were likable. The dislikable characters were dislikable. It was that kind of full of the 80s movie tropes that I kind of grew up on. And in large part, this was probably responsible for forming a lot of my ideas about how, what movies are. Mm-hmm. For better or worse, mostly for worse, but...
Now, being a man and having now had access to high-speed internet
prove it.
I told you I still have dial-up. It's going to take a while, but I can prove it.
You're a man the only way that you can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But having had a high-speed internet for, like 2 decades now, how did your memories of this film's more titillating aspects
Josh.
measure up to them in reality circa 2025?
It just sitting down on the sofa watching this movie from start to finish like I used to when I was an adolescent boy, it really made me appreciate the way I used to, that I used to seek out these like pleasures, right? Like we kind of touched on the fact that it's so easy to just pop online and start watching porn, right? Any kind, whatever you desire. It's at the touch of a finger. I think
it's literally, you can watch it on the thing in your hands most of the day.
I'm watching it right now.
Let me bring up a window real quick. Josh, can you hit share screen just real quick?
Yeah, I have my phone set up right here.
It's a live stream. I've been chatting with a cam girl this whole time.
Stewart Patrick Bateman apartment style, just having it on middle of the day.
It's cranberry juice. I think it took me back to that time and place where it was a little more difficult to get things that you just yearned for as a prepubescent boy, right?
Sure.
So, for that reason, it was satisfying. It kind of brought me back to that place, and all the scenes that I wanted to see were there, and they were still great. And there were even more scenes that I forgot about that were great. So all together, this was a lot of fun.
Now, both of you sort of had the impression that this was a lot more. There was a lot more nudity than I think there really is. Were you guys surprised at how kind of like toned back all the skin was? Toned down?
What about you, Sean?
I guess I would have to say, yeah. I mean, it was, there was not any kind of like Mandela effect where I could tell you that I remembered a scene where there was nudity in it, but I guess I had just kind of a general assumption that this movie would have been more rife with female nudity.
Yeah, wall-to-wall TNA.
I guess it does make a little bit of sense. I mean, it makes a little bit of sense that we don't see that because she is in drag as a man. Like, this is not the reverse, right? And just in terms of like beginning to search this movie out, you occasionally are auto-completed on Google with just one of the girls, which we haven't talked about. I don't know if you guys know of its existence, but it is this movie with Corey Haim and Nicole Eggert, where he goes in drag to the school. I don't know much more of the plot other than to win over the cheerleader. And it is very much Corey Haim in a blonde wig and little else. With a put-upon voice. This movie came out in 1983. And I'm imagining, at least comedically, there's a lot of like fish out of water stuff that happens. And a lot of like, I'm in a place where I shouldn't be. But that's the movie where you're going to get Corey Haim in the female locker room, right? And we just don't have a need for Terry to be in a female locker room in this movie.
Sure.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that just makes me think of Ladybugs, which I almost put
I was thinking of the same thing. I was thinking
Brandis.
of him being Brandis, basically.
Yeah.
I think Ladybugs probably is a year after.
Yeah.
Just
I believe it's 94, but
yeah, I mean, so again, like thinking about being like, 10 or 11 years old watching this movie, having zero access to pornography and very much wanting access to pornography. Even the scenes that aren't like, full nudity were exciting to me. So I probably built it up in my mind like, those must have been like some really good nude scenes or whatever, even though they weren't. So I was a little shocked at the lack of TNA, but it is PG-13, so I can't be surprised.
Ladybugs is 92, the year before, just one of the girls.
Okay.
Wow.
I think some of it is just that the key scene with nudity is pretty legendary, and so it carries a lot of weight.
Well, to me, I didn't think anyone had seen this movie but me for years, because it was so personal. It was just watching me and a TV screen.
Yeah.
Over and over again. I didn't know if anyone had ever heard of just one of the guys, to be honest with you. But apparently, according to YouTube, they have.
Yeah.
a lot of people have.
There are a lot of videos on this movie.
I know.
It's kind of crazy. I kind of fell down a rabbit hole for a couple days watching weird. Like, I watched a guy going all around Phoenix looking at the locations, and I skipped through that one. But
I guess there is something, though. I mean, the larger generalization, perhaps, is like there's a lot of setup to this. It only happens once. They're kind of inarguably spectacular. Like, I think, like, with whatever it is, right? Whether it's revealing the boogeyman in a horror movie, or revealing a dinosaur, or revealing, showing the thing that people talk about. If you do it once, right, and you do it 1 hour and 26 minutes, maybe 8 seconds into your movie, hard timestamp there. It takes on this sort of, legendary feel to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's built into the denouement of the film. Like, it's all, like, this is the crux of the movie.
Yeah. It's seeing Raymond Brower on the side of the railroad tracks, right, and Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, but yeah, there's something...
Radley.
Yeah, there's something about the build-up and the selected and the patience, I think, with Gottlieb to do that in the very kind of last 20 minutes of your movie. And again, like, it's speaking as a straight man, like, the payoff is kind of worth it, right?
Yeah.
And I think
it builds it up in all the right ways.
I think everyone kind of knew that, including Heyser, God bless her.
Oh yeah, I mean, her assessment was correct, and
the movie's
better
that?
for it.
You know who knew that? The boss.
Lisa Gottlieb knew it.
The boss knew that.
Lisa Gottlieb knew it. Yeah,
but so did Springsteen.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the person who was the boss on this film,
No.
not Bruce Springsteen. He definitely knew
the
that.
boss.
Yeah,
very much knew.
So you were both curious as to how the comedy would play. Did it work for you two now?
I don't know how curious I was.
You did. You were in the.
I was okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I think I was. I was probably a little scared.
I just
of how the
edited
comedy
it.
would
I
play.
finished editing the pre-interview last night. So
I think I was a little scared. I was trepidatious about how the comedy would play. And yeah, like Buddy dominates most of the comedic beats in this movie, unfortunately, and I really didn't like him then, and I don't like him now. So, I mean, there's some other things that, like, outside of him that I think are okay, but yeah, I would say that, like, by and large, I wasn't too taken in with the comedy of this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of low hanging fruit, I think, Like I said, it's like they wanted to make Tootsie in a high school. So let's put this girl in guy's clothes and then put him in a boy's room and see what happens. I mean, it's all the jokes are pretty much, you can bet on when they're going to happen and where.
All right, so let's move on to picking up the scraps. Is there anything that we've missed that anyone wants to talk about?
I have in my notes here, there's one thing that I really wanted to get your guys' opinion on. So they used the word pussy in this movie multiple times to refer to Terry's male version, like Zapka's character Greg. It's like,
calls him a tulip.
A tulip, yeah. But specifically, pussy is mentioned like multiple times in reference to someone being one, right? Oh. So, and the double entendre, I guess, there is like, oh, don't be a pussy. Wait, you're a woman, so you have
Right.
one.
Yeah.
We know. But I always thought like that was like the joke that they were making, right? But isn't the origin of the word pussy as in reference to someone like feeble or weak, like a pussy cat, as far as like a feline, and not necessarily like you're acting like a woman or a, lack of a better word, like a bitch or like, that's not
I guess
the
I don't know
usage,
the
right?
etymological origin of the phrase.
I thought it.
I always
came from-
assumed it was from
I think that's
from
the
late
assumption.
misogyny, but
I think
thought
that's the assumption, but I believe, I could be wrong, that, the origin of the word is like a scaredy cat or a pussy cat. Don't be a pussy. Right?
I always thought it came from the word pusillanimous. And was just kind of no, seriously, that was just
Okay.
kind of a shortened version of pusillanimous, meaning like cowardly.
That's
Okay.
a new one.
But
should
yeah,
call in. Yeah.
It is very weird though to, even if you are a guy, for your gym teacher to say, "What are you, a pussy?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that whole fucking
okay,
thing.
the gym teacher. Jock inspections 3 times a week?
Yeah.
I never heard of that.
Okay,
Why are you wearing a jock in gym class to play basketball?
I've never understood the like jockstrap culture. Like, why
Baseball,
was this
sure.
a thing? Why did our asses need to be hanging out and just our
Well, you need to wear
just our junk cupped in the thing?
You wear them in baseball for the cup.
Yeah, with a cup, sure. I
Yeah.
get it with the context of, oh, that's carrying a cup to protect your nads, like
Right.
I
But
get that, but like
just a loose job.
why would it be? But we see it all the time in movies. I guess it's just a way to get male ass out there, but I assume it was also a thing that you had to do. But by the time I think Sean or I were in gym class, you never would have seen jockstraps.
You would never really see that. You never really see the showering scene again, which kind of plagues 80s movies. Like there's always men showering in high school,
Hmm.
which when I was in high school was, unless you were in some kind of extracurricular sport, like you weren't showering after gym class. You were just showing up to English fucking sweaty and smelling.
Right. No, we had it. Like if you had AM like morning basketball practice, you would shower or something like that. But that was pretty much the only time that.
Yeah, this is very much a part of school. Like we just didn't have the time allocated
No.
for phys ed to shower and change again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's almost like when I was a kid, it felt like every single cut I ever sustained, I had to put iodine on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what, like at some point it just became, you can just put like soothing Neosporin on it. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But as a kid, when you got cut, it was like, you're going to feel fucking hell for about 4 seconds here. So yeah, I think the jockstrap stuff, for any of our curious listeners,
It was certainly a thing of it was a thing of the past by the time we were in like a point where there were showers in the school in
it was not a thing.
1993,
Jockstraps were not a thing.
On the pussy front, I'm going to call into Away with Words on NPR and see if they can't dig that up for me. You guys familiar with that?
I mean,
show?
we'll probably have a follow-up in the Q's and T's episode following this.
Okay.
I would assume that there will be a guest a listener who may know the origin of it, that I have to plead ignorance to. Now, I will say Kevin picks her up in an Alfa Romeo's Spider Veloce. Year looks to be in the early 80s, but they kind of look consistently the same for a handful of years, so I don't know which year it is. Sturgis Wilder seems like it's a nod to Preston Sturgis and Billy Wilder, even though Sturgis is spelled like Sturgis, South Dakota. Not Preston Sturgis's last name, which is an ES.
Mm-hmm.
Greg is, of course, Greg Toland, which seems to be a nod to Greg Toland, the cinematographer from Citizen Kane. I wonder if Greg Toland, the cinematographer, was a renowned asshole. Something to think about.
I haven't heard, yeah.
Presumably.
Yeah, well, I assume so. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I feel like we missed.
Did you guys hear that Stooges song playing in the background in the cafeteria?
Yep.
That was awesome.
Yeah, very strange. Was not expecting that.
Uh-uh.
I was expecting a very, 1985 normal high school movie soundtrack. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
I do feel like we really haven't talked about Sherilyn Fenn very much, which seems a little strange because she was, for people Sean and my age at least, maybe you're 5 years younger and don't have the same affinity, but like because of her in Twin Peaks and her kind of fame that was sprouting up in the 80s and through the 90s, I think she's very much kind of a like a sex pot that Sean in my age bracket would have
She played who?
an affection for. We spoke about Zalman King earlier. She's Sandy.
She's Sandy, so
Yes.
she takes Buddy's V card, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Twin Peaks is where I recognize her. I knew her face from somewhere. Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Yep.
She was also in a Zalman King movie.
Huh.
Two Moon Junction.
Oh yeah.
She was in The Wraith, which I would assume at some point we'll do on this podcast.
That
Which
rings
is
a bell.
a fun movie. But yeah, she was definitely like one of those sort of sex pot ingenues from the mid 80s through the mid 90s, who sort of had like Marilyn Monroe vibes, new Marilyn Monroe. Anyway, whatever. So, major gripes. Starting with our guest Stewart. What was your biggest gripe with the film this go around?
Major gripes. Need more of that TNA, baby. No, I'm just kidding. I think I wanted a little bit more from the setup. I wanted a little more story with her writing. I mean, I think she mentions writing one time, like before the prom.
They show her like sitting down and typing something a couple times, but like they're not really servicing it well.
No, I mean, I want to kind of dig into what kind of story did she write? Like, where in
I would honestly,
the movie,
I would guess that the original ending was maybe her doing VO of the article, and maybe they decided that no one cared.
You're
And
giving
that's
that's a huge compliment that you're giving. I mean, like,
well, because I'm only saying that because we get this tacked on additional photography ending.
yeah, but like, you're saving the movie.
I'm guessing that the audience wouldn't like the audience then probably didn't care about the. And that was, I would guess that if they had to shoot another ending, that the other ending that they had was servicing that plot line that maybe
I think if they had done that, you would have heard about it at this Cinna family whatever thing that you saw.
There were a couple of cuts where there was like they maybe had to change the card or something, so it's possible it was talked about then. I don't know.
Okay,
I just got a little excited at the beginning where I was like, okay, I don't remember the kind of feminist bend to the story to the plot, and I'm curious to see where this goes, and it went absolutely fucking nowhere. So
right.
That's my biggest gripe.
I mean the story's fine, like the premise is okay. I think the screenplay and the acting and the directing are what I have my biggest gripes with. I don't have any faith in this director. Comedically,
you didn't love Cadillac Ranch?
No, I haven't seen it, but I'm going to say no. I'll watch it and then I'll confirm. But yeah, I mean the type of comedy that this guy came in to help with this script is a type of comedy that is super dated and a comedy that yes, I ingested as a kid, but
I hate Full House so much.
I don't like myself for having made it a part of my life as a kid. I think Buddy overall is a pretty deplorable character in this movie. The fact that it's vindicated and he gets Sherilyn Fenn like in bed with the covers brought up because they're both buck-ass naked,
right? And
then quickly disposes of her, or vice versa, only to find Dog the Bounty Hunter coming in at the end. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of lessons there. And, like, here's the thing that I'll talk about with a lot of movies is like when you have somebody who's supposedly very good at something, like we have an athlete in a movie as our protagonist, or we have a musician in a movie as a protagonist, the one that they let off the fucking hook are writers. This happens in a lot of movies, but we don't hear her writing. We don't get to read it. We don't get to hear her VO it.
Right.
She's apparently a really good writer. And as Stewart pointed out, like it's important to her, as she says in the movie, as her character. This is what she wants to be when she could have a really cush, high-paying modeling job, right? As her teacher and her boyfriend suggest. You're a pretty girl, you know, you could always model. Like, we never get her writing, and it's such a punt as a screenwriter to not, like, put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I also think they like really underutilized Denise. She should be more of a sounding board and have character. That'd be probably my major gripe, since you guys kind of covered two that I would have talked about. Okay, so fix this movie for today. How would you fix this for a modern audience, starting with Stewart?
Oh my God. Well, not to beat a dead horse, but take that somewhere. I mean, now more than ever, it can be important to tell a story about, you know, a woman struggling to do something in a male-dominated world. So obviously there's something there. Or, you know, you could flip that and just be like a body positive. Let's push it to the max. Let's really put some more TNA in there. And like, let's make this a fun, like new kind of teenage sexy romp. I don't know how exactly you go about doing that or marketing it, but you know, push those ideas that kind of got buried. Well, push that idea that kind of got buried to the max and see what we can do.
Right.
I think what you could do with it, you could still, you know, do the woman in drag at the high school thing, but I think you could subvert expectations if you were to do it today, which is how they kind of did it in the remake of 21 Jump Street, where they came into that high school expecting these problems, expecting these types of bullies, and they realized that things have changed. And I think if we go into this movie and this premise with, hey, it's a girl in drag going into this high school and the amount of misogyny that she's going to face and all this and all these, but we flip it and we give her new problems. We give her modernized problems. Like, maybe you could pull it off. Maybe if you're really clever and you have a very good writer or two, you could probably pull it off. I think that also, like, adding something other than just the haircut and John Cryer's wardrobe. I don't know what I don't know if it has to be a full Harvey Firestein makeup
you want
job.
it to be like
different Harvey
Face-Off.
Steen.
Different Harvey. With respect, we're big fans of Harvey Firestein here.
You want it to be like the scene from Face Off where it's just like she's on the medical table, just full on plastic surgery. That'd be cool.
I mean, that's the real fix for me, is Face Off this.
Yeah, just Face Off this.
Think about it. Just because one of the guys meets Face Off.
Because somebody at the rival school knows like the nuclear codes or whatever. Yeah. Just raise the stakes completely. Right.
Okay, so Saving Graces. What was your favorite element of the film? Again, starting with Stewart.
Or favorite element, you know, the soundtrack. I mean, opening with Midnight Star, just it hook, line, and sinker for me.
It only goes down from there.
Well, then the Stooges picks it up later in the cafeteria.
Yeah, it's a good soundtrack. I mean, it's
for 80s, you know.
Yeah, you could.
Well, not just playing the hits, like, you know, it's right,
something new. Yeah.
There's a small scene where Terry, in drag, helps out Deborah with her earring. Right?
Oh, yeah.
She says, what you got to do is you got to take out the eraser and then you can plug that in the back and that'll hold. Yeah. That'll keep your earring in place. And then it was like, oh shit, that's an obvious girl thing. You could have fucking fed that to me all movie long and I would have really loved this movie. These things that women can help at other women, and here's a guy who is now doing that, and like, that could be like the rise of popularity through the school. And guess what? Fucking Terry wins prom king.
Yep.
For
Yeah, there you
Christ's
go.
sake, give me that. What? Like, who is voting?
Yeah,
For this
when they
destructive-
announce it's Greg, I'm like, what the fuck? Who would vote for him? Like, no one would have voted for that guy.
This there were like people that got into fights and people that like were fucking bullies in my junior highs and high schools. They were not the most popular kid, like at the school. Nobody likes this guy, especially the janitor. And his vote counts double. But like, there was an opportunity there for them to kind of carve this path for Terry in a clever way that they touched on very briefly with that earring thing, and then they completely abandoned it because it's clever, and it takes time and energy to be clever. But that was a very small thing, but I did appreciate it. I did like it. I just wish we had gotten it the whole movie on.
No, I like that. That would be the ultimate kind of surprise climax. And where do we go from there? That could have played for.
She has that line, right? She has that line to Denise and her brother of like, my article is whatever, it's due a week from Monday, and I'm going to go and I'm going to try to make friends with everybody. And she goes and she sits down with Lizard Man, right? And she goes and I don't know, there's different people that she's talking to, but like she could have used her sensitivity and her empathy as a woman, which this movie, like, the journalism teacher here says, write with emotion, write with heart. Just because you're a guy doesn't mean you can't do that. Like there's an avenue here that you can explore. So that this movie...
and you can subvert gender norms. Like it's so much more interesting to go that route and to have, so you could be a guy, but like actually be sensitive and be fucking nice to people and help people out in a way that's like more meaningful.
Which is why kind of like Tootsie is beloved and has stood the test of time, because Dustin Hoffman as Dorothy does a lot of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's also why copies of successful movies like that do stand the test of time and are interesting decades later. Movies that are modeled after that only for the veneer of it, or maybe the popularity of it, like the shenanigans Tootsie gets into because he's dressed like a woman. That's all they appreciate, and so that copy is going to be way subpar to the original version. And
right, you need to find a way to improve upon the formula.
I think this movie was kind of like doomed from that inception.
Yeah, in that it was Columbia very specifically wanting Tootsie set in high school.
Yeah, let's put high schoolers in chairs and show them some boobs and it'll work. And it did.
I mean, it's tempting for me to say my favorite moment is the obvious moment, which
is it could be a saving grace. I mean, the financials of it.
Well, this is a saving grace. I mean,
to suggest that it's a saving grace.
Yes. And I mean, I just objectively, it's hard to argue with that. Like,
it's yeah.
I do think that my favorite scene is probably Sandy being pretty aggressive with Terry at the fire. And pulling the sock out and feeling that it would, and apparently having no problem with a micropene. But I thought that was funny.
But we don't have the courage to continue that scene as well, right?
Sure, right. Well, I think in an R-rated cut that scene goes on, but it doesn't here.
Because guess what? How fucking amazing would it be if, in order to preserve her guys, that she has to pleasure Sandy, and guess what? She knows a little thing or two about pleasuring women.
Yeah.
And it could be something like, wow, I had, again, in the R-rated cut, she goes down
R-rated cut, it's that, but
And there's your one-liner to end the scene. Like, I've never been blanked like that before.
Yeah.
By any guy.
I've never been finger banged like that. Wow,
Yeah.
you
I
really.
think Sandy would say blasted, right?
Or Sandy could say like, "Wow, Terry, you really know how to get a girl off." And
Right.
then Terry does one of her standard like eye rolls and like
Uh-huh.
head nods,
Exactly.
which is how she's been directed to do this whole movie.
So I think we're talking about making the X-rated version of this, which
I'd watch.
I think
All right, so getting out of here, Stewart, you weren't sure if you'd objectively like just one of the guys now. Where did you come down on that issue?
it's like putting on an old boot. It was for better or worse. I can't like rightly judge this movie. I feel like just because it's so intrinsically a part of
This happens all the time. You
movie
don't need
brain.
to feel. You don't need to feel like
I'm not being original.
self-conscious about it.
Yeah. No. I mean, I just can't. It was so much a part of my past, my movie watching past as an adolescent, that it was like I just transported back to that time and I just saw it again. And guess what? I enjoyed it again.
Right on.
Many, many times.
Sean, how did you feel going back? Did you still have the warm pangs of nostalgia, or?
Yeah, I mean, between then and now, I have 30 years of watching like really good movies, right?
Yeah.
And I think like that's the harm with kind of revisiting something is that we don't exist in a vacuum, and the people that we are today are going to be different. Stewart had a lot more nostalgia about this movie than I did. I remember it just being something that was on TV and not really by choice.
Sure. It was omnipresent, yeah.
And you just kind of showed up in the movie and had kind of a mental awareness of how long you had to wait to see Joyce Heyser.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
In all her glory.
Yeah. But yeah, I like my lack of nostalgia is not insulated me from kind of the critical mind that I've got now, where I just look at something and I'm like, okay, I can see all the warts.
Yeah.
Where I think Stewart and his love may see the warts, but like that's part of what he loves.
Yeah.
Sure.
Couldn't put it better myself.
I mostly had fun. I mean, it's not like a great film. No misgivings about that. I still mostly had fun though.
Yeah. I mean,
Anyway.
I watch 80s slasher movies like
Yeah.
at least
I
once
watch
a week.
a lot more
so
shit
this...
than Sean does.
Yeah.
I'm more than willing to sit down with like some shitty 80s movie that I just haven't seen, but I know from like looking at just the box art or whatever that this is going to be bad. I'm okay with sitting with it.
Yeah, my favorite movie isn't Goodfellas, so
Neither is mine.
Oh yeah,
but
that's a different...
Josh doesn't have qualms about venturing into the cellar.
Yeah. None whatsoever.
Same here. Yeah.
I can get some enjoyment out of Drek. I don't think this is Drek. I think this is above that. But yeah. Anyway, before we say goodbye to listeners at home, where can they find you, Stewart?
They can find me down in Austin, Texas. Again, if you're in need of any art handling, art installation, art packaging, shipping, Parker Art Handling is who you need to call. Otherwise, I play Sandlot baseball here in Austin. That's about to kick up here pretty soon. So you can follow Sandlot Revolution here in Austin, which is kind of the online hub on Instagram for our Sandlot League here in town. Yeah.
Well, thank you for subjecting some of your cherished and salacious childhood memories to the scrutiny of the Unkind Rewind, Stewart.
Stewart, it was you. It was you that got just one of the guys.
Someone was going to get it. It's been on multiple lists.
Yeah. We like you, Stewart. We wanted you to have. We wanted it to be you.
Well, I am thrilled to have this experience with you guys. Thank you so much for taking me on this trip. I'm going to go watch just one of the guys again right now, actually.
1 hour, 26 minutes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stuart.
Thanks. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Stuart.
Bye.
That was another installment of The Unkind Rewind, mining our childhood for content, one film from a guest's past at a time. Unkind Rewind is a Munchcasts production and can be listened to wherever you download your podcasts and watched on the Unkind Rewind YouTube channel. Music for this and every other episode of Unkind Rewind was composed by Divorcio Suave. Rate, review, like, and subscribe to Unkind Rewind on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and Good Pods. Links to all of our social media accounts are in our show notes, but you'll find us as @UnkindRewindPod on Letterboxd and nearly every social media platform, all of which can be found at our website, unkindrewind.com. If you have a question, concern, complaint, or feedback, you can email the podcast at unkindrewindpod@gmail.com or call into our call-in line, area code 507-479-6440, and leave a message that can be played on air. Fans should join the Munchcast Discord to discuss this or any other episode of the Unkind Rewind with like-minded people. This dialogue may just make it into a future episode of the pod. The Unkind Rewind Patreon will be coming soon, so start squirreling that pocket change away. Thank you for listening to the Unkind Rewind.